Boom shakalaka. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the bullish scenario for Bitcoin, the most bullish chart I have seen recently. Also, why Bitcoin halving cycles are likely over and why the stock to flow model needs to be retired. Stay tuned. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, we are talking about very bullish charts for Bitcoin, the most bullish chart I've ever seen, why these halving cycles are likely to be invalidated soon, and why we just need to toss out the stock to flow model. Before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe, click the notification bell. Also come join us over on Twitter at the Crypto Love for one of these sweet shirts. And you might ask, why am I doing this video today? Well, yesterday I made a video on the bearish scenario for Bitcoin because it's good to see both sides of the situation. And to be frankly honest with you, that video bummed me the fuck out. I was like super bummed. So instead of just like, sleeping all day and not doing anything, I went over and I watched a video from my man crush, Willy Woo. Now he was recently on Tonevase, and it's a very, very good video. You guys should definitely check it out. It's called Was This Flash Crash a Short-Term Blip or a Big Problem with Willy Woo over on Tonevase channel. And he took a look at some charts that were very, very interesting. Like, this has kind of changed my whole view of what's happening with Bitcoin right now, and it's pretty darn awesome. So we're going to take a look at all of that today. Well, why don't we just dive right in, shall we? Okay, to begin with, we have the Bitcoin long-term holder supply shock. Now, if you guys take a look at this chart, this purple line here is the long-term holder supply shock. And this one isn't totally updated till today. This one's about a month old. But as you can see, when we are in these green areas, it is pretty much the best possible time you could be buying Bitcoin. Like, you would be buying all the bottom down here, or you would be buying all the bottom down there before the price rocketed up. Now, if we go over to that video that Willy Woo just did, and if we take a look right now, guys, guess what? It is pretty much all the way right back up to that scenario. Let me just go to the last graph so you can see. The green area right there, we're right back in that area. That tells me that even though everybody got liquidated last week and the price crashed below $50,000, guess what? This is pretty much the best price that you could buy Bitcoin at. Like, you couldn't get it at a better discount than you could get it right now. And you see, that brings me to this chart here. You see, it looks, based on these trend lines, it looks like we're likely to continue to go up this rising wedge before Bitcoin price breaks out. Now, these rising wedges oftentimes break to the bottom. But it is in a grander scheme of things, in case you guys don't remember, it is in an ascending channel with these orange lines. Now, ascending channels, on the other hand, have a 68% chance of breaking to the upside. Good luck being short the hardest asset in history during the greatest period of asset inflation in history. So what do I think that might look like? Well, I think potentially Bitcoin price could keep bouncing back and forth before it gets squeezed likely to the downside, but not coming down to where we are right now, and then boom, eventually rockets back up and even more likely breaks up above there. Like I said, 2/3 of the time it actually breaks out to the upside of these ascending channels. Because guys, exchange balances right now are at a 3-year low. Another 21,000 Bitcoin, almost $1 billion pulled off exchanges in the last week. Meanwhile, whales holdings have increased roughly 440,000 Bitcoin in the last week. Ignore the noise. Ignore the mild price drops. Because guys, if we take a look 3 years ago, he's talking about this area right here. Okay? The amount of Bitcoin available right now on exchanges is about the same at the lowest point Bitcoin has been since, what was that, 2017? 4 years ago. The lowest price you could possibly get it. Supply and demand, my friends. Because not only that, but we have that the volume of Bitcoins younger than 1 month has hit an all-time low of less than 7%. Like, in the history of Bitcoin, there has never been this many hodlers. Ever. ever. This is something that we haven't seen before. We can't look back at Bitcoin. We can't look back at Bitcoin for it to repeat itself. Because guess what? These are things that we have never, ever seen before. In other words, the volume of coins older than 1 month is at an all-time high. The hodl is very real. Old coins are not being spent. Young coins are maturing. This is bullish. Which brings us to this right here. Supply shock valuation model. Uses a look-back algo to determine what the market priced Bitcoin at prior demand and supply situations. Currently, that puts Bitcoin price at $55,000. So where we are right now, Bitcoin is at an insane discount. It's like a 20% discount you can buy it at right now. It should be $55,000. It's $45,000. It is an insane buy. And like I said, guys, we are in this, like, the best time you could possibly ever buy it scenario. This currently puts Bitcoin above $55,000. It's only a matter of time before the price rockets back upwards. Which brings us to this, the stock to flow model. Because as of yet, we are below the stock to flow model. And there is evidence from Colin Talks Crypto that we should invalidate this model completely. Now, everybody's waiting for this to come back above. And it has been pretty darn accurate. You know, when Bitcoin was about $1,000 and $10,000 and everything like that, it has been pretty accurate, but it's not exactly accurate because the peak was before here, the peak was after here. There's a lot of white space here. There's not so much white space here. Now there's negative white space. So while it's kind of okay, it's not great. And actually, this video here on Colin Talks Crypto's channel, Bitcoin stock to flow model not accurate for locating precise bull run peaks, he actually has a new method for picking out the peak. And the peak is not, based on this, it is not going to be September 21st-ish like we thought it was going to be. It's actually going to be 687 days after the May 11th, 2020 halving, which, if you do the math, is actually March 29th, 2022. That's likely to be the next peak. Now, the thing about this is that right now, Willy Woo was saying that Bitcoin peaks, the cycles that we have seen previously, are unlikely to repeat in the future. Because previously, Bitcoin had a pretty big inflation rate, like 4%, 8%, even higher than that. Now it's less than 2% inflation. We are less likely to see these types of peaks and troughs anymore. It is more likely that the price will just keep on going up and up and up and up and up with less peaks and less troughs. So while, based on this Colin Talks Crypto halving ratio index, while based on this, the next most likely peak is March 29th of 2022, it's unlikely that the price is going to come down much after that. Because, guys, people are just buying up Bitcoin. They're buying it up. They're hodling it. They're not selling it anymore. It's at an all-time low. Good luck being short on this asset. Which brings us to probably the most bullish chart ever. And this isn't even a Bitcoin price chart. What this is a Bitcoin adoption curve. Now, in terms of adoption, Bitcoin has roughly the same users as the internet had in 1997. But Bitcoin's growing faster. The next 4 years will bring Bitcoin users to 1 billion people. That's the equivalent of 2005 in the internet. So if we take a look at this, guys, in the next year or two, Bitcoin, you can see the adoption line right here of Bitcoin going up very steeply. Now, other things, you could see the internet there. You could see world population here. You could see PayPal accounts here. Well, guess what? In the next year or two, Bitcoin is going to eclipse PayPal. You remember how PayPal adopting Bitcoin started at the beginning of this bull run? Well, in the next year or two, Bitcoin is going to eclipse PayPal. Not only that, but in probably the next 5 years or so, Bitcoin could potentially, 5 to 10 years, could potentially eclipse the internet. This is the same time that there's going to be a huge wealth transfer from baby boomers to millennials around 2030. So we are gearing up for probably the largest financial revolution that has ever been seen in any scope whatsoever. So guys, that is the end of today's episode. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like, subscribe, click the notification bell. I definitely feel a lot better after watching that Willy Woo video and also making this video here, because after doing that bearish scenario yesterday, I was just depressed, man. That just sucked. So, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I'll catch you later. Peace.